In Total War Warhammer 3, we have but two choices of in-game camera to use, the standard camera and the classic camera. These are the same two cameras that we have in the now 10-year-old Shogun 2. So I'm here to make the case that it's time for a camera upgrade, because it's kind of been showing its age for a long time. And it's by no means a huge issue. You can still play the game perfectly fine with the normal cameras that Total War has. They're not going to ruin the game or anything like that. But there are better options out there that have been around for a long time, and it's a wonder that CA haven't implemented them. The main issue with the camera is that it doesn't allow you to go high enough and see all of your army or all of the battlefield in one shot. This was even worse in the older Total Wars like Shogun 2, because you could pull the units so wide and make spaghetti lines, you could make incredibly wide armies, incredibly wide battles, and you'd have to whiz your camera around all over the place. And this is still the issue with Total War Warhammer 3 in 2022. You have to move your camera around a lot. There's very big wide maps that you Vanguard deploy units all over the place. You've got flying units and fast cavalry units that are going to be all over the place flanking around. So it would be really good if we could just see everything all at once, just like the AI can, essentially. And here's a comparison. So this is the normal in-game Total War cameras. Like, okay, this is fine, it's not bad, but it could be this, where we can see everything all of the time. This is using the better camera mod. You've probably seen me bang on about it already. You can go up way higher. You can also come down lower so you can get into the fight. Maybe a little bit too low with this camera, as it does clip through the floor like so. Understandable if CA don't want to bring the camera any lower to risk that. And that's fine. We can live without going lower with the camera, but there doesn't seem to be any good reason why we wouldn't want to go higher. It gives us, the players, more choice about how we play the game. A lot of people prefer being able to see all the action that's going on all of the time, because it allows you to play better. You can see more of the situations that are going on, so you can adjust accordingly. You'll be less likely to make mistakes. You'll be able to keep track of your units better. If a unit gets routed and runs off somewhere into the woods, you'll be more likely to be able to see them if you can see everything that's going on, like we pretty much can here. So it seems high time that we got these camera upgrades that we need, because in 10 years of this game, or maybe more, we've had the same cameras with no improvements other than cinematic smoothing, which is a godsend by all means, especially for a content creator. It makes the camera way less jerky, but that doesn't help us play the game any better. And yes, you might argue, well, you've got the TAC map. Well, who the hell uses that? Pretty much nobody. But you know what people do use? The better camera mod. As you can see here on the Total War Warhammer 3 workshop, better camera mod, most popular and second most subscribed mod for Total War Warhammer 3 with 88,000 subscribers. But oh, that's nothing. Warhammer 2, better camera mod again, second most subscribed mod, although it's actually the first. It has more than Grimhammer, 428,000 subscribers. I don't know how many copies of Warhammer 2 have been sold, but that has got to be a fair chunk of the player base that are not happy with the current cameras. There's also 253,000 in Warhammer 1, which was only out for a year before Warhammer 2, and it's the most subscribed mod for Total War Troy as well. And sorry to the guy that makes better camera mod, I'm not trying to put your mod out of business or anything, you're doing Sigmar's work. But it's a wonder that in all these years, no one at CA has gone, hey, I wonder if we could make some improvements to the camera. I wonder if this guy with his hundreds of thousands of subscribers to his mod is onto something. Another big problem with the in-game Total War cameras is that they can actually put you at a disadvantage in multiplayer, because a lot of people use this, the debug camera, which takes away any limit on the camera. You can go as high as you like or as low as you like. There's no limits. Now, of course, nobody comes up this high. It would be incredibly impractical, but a lot of people online in multiplayer do use this camera because you can. You're not allowed to use mods in multiplayer. If you play ranked, you can't use any mods. If you play custom battles, you can only use mods if everyone in the room has the mod. So basically, you can't use better camera mod in multiplayer. But you can use the debug camera, which is really easy to get. All you have to do is go into a script and change a 0 to a 2, and you're golden. You spend 5 minutes Googling it, you'll be able to do it. It's not difficult. Anyone can do it. A lot of the top multiplayer guys use the debug camera because it gives them this advantage. They can see everything that's going on, and that is an advantage over somebody who just uses the normal cameras. And that's especially true of domination now, probably, because you do need to be able to see all 3 points and the entire map all of the time. It's a big advantage to have the debug camera to be able to do that. And it's by no means a guaranteed win if you're using a debug camera versus somebody not using a debug camera. It's not going to give you an automatic win or anything, but it is an advantage that shouldn't be there because multiplayer is about fairness. And if you don't know about the debug camera, you're essentially being penalized for not knowing something that is not inside the game. So again, another case for a better camera, one that comes up higher and allows us to see everything so that everybody that plays multiplayer gets the same experience, the same camera, and can compete fairly. At least if they want that camera. I'm not saying get rid of the current cameras, I'm saying maybe just add in a couple more higher angle ones. Now, if all of that isn't enough proof that a lot of people aren't happy with the current Total War cameras, here's a poll I did today which currently has 3,000 votes, more than enough to give us a decent consensus on this, and it shows that 59% of players are using the normal in-game cameras. Well, that's fine, that's to be expected, that's the in-game cameras, right? And there are going to be some people that are just happy with those cameras and are fine with it, like good old DP Tar here, who says, "Minimap and full zoom out are enough in my opinion." And he's right. Like I said, the cameras are fine, it's just that they could be better, and I have to wonder if he has tried better camera mod, because technically the camera that he likes and he's fine with is inside better camera mod, because you just simply stop when you reach that amount of zoom and you don't zoom out all the way, but at least you've got it there if you want it. And then there's also going to be people that simply don't use mods, or that aren't interested, they don't look in the workshop, or they just don't know that other options are out there. Like our boy Marco here, who says, "I didn't know other cameras exist." Maybe I should just do this poll again after this video comes out, and then more people will know about cameras, and who knows what the percentage might be then. And then there's those people who are just absolute derps, like For Love of the Page, who says, "If I wasn't a derp, I might use debug." I think if you let everybody try out the better camera mod, that percentage would be way lower. But all of that stuff aside, still looking at these numbers, it's pretty substantial that over 40% of players are using an alternative camera. And that's not even me including all the camera mods. I think there's a couple of other ones. That's just the main one in better camera mod and the debug camera for multiplayer. So when nearly half of your player base is using an alternative camera, it might be a sign that it's time for an upgrade. And yes, I know I'm saying half of the player base when really it's only 3,000 votes, but in my experience with YouTube polls, the results pretty much stay the same as they are after a few thousand votes as they are after 10 or 15,000 votes. So it's a reasonably accurate estimation. All we need is something like this. 4 camera options, the ones we have already, and then just 2 new ones, which are high options, which gives us basically what the better camera mod gives us. Or alternatively, just raise the height of the standard and classic Total War cameras, and just keep those 2. So there it is, that's my case for a better camera in Total War. And I'm going to do something I don't normally do in videos here. I'm going to ask you to like this video if you agree, and share it, because if it gets some attention, maybe CA will give it some attention, and maybe we can get a better camera for Total War, which is only going to improve the game for everybody. Or if you disagree, you can leave that as well and I'll swiftly delete it. Only joking, I'll have you killed. Ultimately, I'm not asking to take anything away from the experience that anyone might be having with the game, simply to add to it for the large percentage of us that would like a better camera. I hope you've enjoyed this, thanks for watching, I will see you in the future.